A very good day to all. My name is Joyce matrix number 279894. Today, I'll be presenting about Introduction, the criminal prosecution faced by Sebah Dynamic Holdings Berhad, the chosen problematic firm for this study. The purpose of this study is to evaluate the ethical corporate governance disclosure quality of a public listed firm whose senior executives are currently under criminal investigation with comparable companies that are not. In this case, the individuals that are involved are Muhammad Abdul Karim Abdullah, the CEO, and also Muhammad Hafiz Othman, the Vice President of Accounts and Finance. The CEO is charged by submitting a false statement to Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad, while Muhammad Hafiz is charged by involvement in preparation of false documentations relating to the sales of Sebah Dynamic and also falsifying the accounting records of the company's subsidiary. The CEO was charged by the Securities Commission Malaysia for the offence under Section 369A(b) of the Capital Markets and Services Act and was punished with a maximum fine of 3 million, while the Vice President has violated an additional crime in Section 368(1)(b)(1) and was punished a 1 million fine for falsifying with the accounting records of the company's subsidiary on top of the 1 million fine for the preparation of false documentation. That's all from me, and I'll pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AQILAH BINTI ARSHAD. My matric number is 287072. I will continue this presentation with analysis of problematic company, which is Sebah Dynamic Holding Berhad. First of all, we look at corporate culture. Sebah Dynamic Holding Berhad established in 1993 and become a private limited company on 2 December 2015. Afterward, their company became a public limited company on 13 May 2016. Okay, for the next corporate culture, we look at their core business. They have 4 core business. One is operation and maintenance. Second is engineering, procurement, construction, and commissioning. The third one is information and communication technology. And the last one is education and training. Their vision is to excel globally as a recognized total technical engineering and commercial service provider. They have 3 missions. The first one is the most highly regarded to value added in terms of safety, quality, and effectiveness. The second is the first choice for their customer, that they need not look for the other alternative. And the last one is become a profit contributor to their shareholders. They also have 4 core policy. First, commitment to the quality. Second, health. Third, safety. And the last one is environment. Okay, this is the ethical safeguard. The first one is safety performance. Sebah Dynamic prioritize ensuring the safety of facility and equipment when conducting business. The second one is responsibility at workplace. Sebah Dynamic hold toolbox stock every day before they start work, with the goal of improving people's safety, health at a workshop and construction site. And the last one is integrity governs their operation. Sebah Dynamic Code of Conduct and Business Ethic Guide is sustainable to meet the world's environmentally and socially responsible effort, underpinned by a responsible corporate governance framework. For the next is whistleblowing policy. The first is the whistleblower is required to identify himself or herself and provide contact information in his or her report. The second is disclosure received under anonymity may not be entertained to prevent invalid, malicious reporting, poisonous letter, and exploitation and victimization. For the anti-corruption and anti-bribery policy, the first one is the group conduct all business in an honest and ethical manners. Next is the group take a zero tolerance approach to bribery and corruption and are committed to acting professionally. And the last one is the group will uphold all laws relevant to countering bribery and corruption. For the last one is Sebah Dynamic Board of Directors. we look at for the composition. Super Dynamic have 8 total directors. Super Dynamic board of director composition fulfill the requirement from NCCG, which is at least half of director are independents. Next, we look at the diversity. Super Dynamic board of director diversity doesn't meet the requirement from NCCG, which is at least 30% minimum of women directors are listed. That's all from me. Thank you.
Good day, Doctor and everyone. So now I will continue discuss the part of CEO duty for Serba Dynamic. This is the CEO of Serba Dynamic. We found that the CEO of Serba Dynamic also hold the position of chairman in the investment committee. So there is a CEO duty exists in this company.
Hi, I'm Nelson and I'm going to present for the next company, which is Dilim Berhad. The mission of Dilim is to provide sustainable growth and enhance stakeholders' value. Besides, Dilim also adheres to 4 values, which is integrity, professionalism, sustainability, and excellence. The vision of Dilim is to be the market leaders in their operating segments domestically and to expand geographical presence in the selected areas. Ethical safeguards and virtues. Dilim's Code of Business Conduct (COBC) sets the tone for the expected corporate behavior for all within the group. Besides, COBC campaigns 2021 was rolled out to all board of directors and employees of Dilim to provide awareness of the commitment to the ethical behavior standard in their business activities via a digital platform. Whistleblowing policy. Dilim guarantees the reporting individuals, if the reporting individual is a director or employee, that they will not face retaliation or disciplinary punishment for reporting wrongdoing by his superior manager or department head, as long as the complaint is made in good faith. Besides, Dilim also provides 2 reporting channels, which is by email and by letter. For the anti-bribery and corruption policies, Dilim does not allow any of their employees or directors acting on behalf of the groups to offer or receive any cash or benefits directly or indirectly to or from any person which may generate suspicions of impropriety. Board of Director analysis. From the perspective of independence, Dilim have 4 independent directors and 3 non-independent directors, which fulfill the requirement of MCCG that asking half of BOD should be constituted of independent director, and the main listing requirement that required 2 or 1/3 of board of director constitute of independent director. From the perspective of compositions, there is 1 non-independent non-executive chairman, 1 independent non-executive deputy chairman, 1 executive director, 1 independent non-executive director, and 1 senior independent non-executive director. From the perspective of diversity, Dilim has an ethically diverse board of directors with 4 Malay directors, 2 Indian directors, and 1 Chinese directors. However, there is only 1 female director in board of directors of Dilim, which constitute of 14.29%. It is not in line with the MCCG requirement of 30%. From the perspective of CEO duality, there is no CEO duality that happened in Dilim Berhad because the chairman and CEO is a different person. The chairman of Dilim is Dato' Isam bin Mahmud, while the CEO of Dilim is Ramarao bin Abdullah.
Thank you for past presenter and salam doctor. My name is KANG and my mention number is 27903. Today I will present the part for icon of store Berhad. The vision for this company is to be the preferred offshore marine service provider for the oil and gas industry, where the mission is creating value for our customer, employee, and stockholders throughout the employment of a fleet of modern vessels and rich, and upholding the highest standard of healthy, safety, security, and environment, and committed to the continuous development of our greatest assets, our people. The values are following the name of the company, that is icon. I, intelligent and mutual respect. C, committed to create value. O, operating as one team. And N, navigate the extra mile. ICON have two ethic codes for director and employee. The reason for director is based on sincerity, integrity, responsibility, and corporate social responsibility. The reason for employee is to help employees perform their duties in line with the company standard. ICON encourages relevant participants to report whistleblowing complaints in good faith and with sufficiency reason. Legal action may be taken. The channel for whistleblower is through email. The strategy anti-bribery and corruption policy are MD must approve was more than 500 requests that are received or handed out. And second strategy are receiving gift, hospitality, facility payments, liberal kickbacks and donation, sponsorship and political contribution that may influence business decisions are prohibited. For board of directors, ICON of Store Berhad have 8 directors, which 5 independent directors and 3 not independent directors. ICON of Store Berhad have reached the MCCG requirement for the half of board of directors and also reached the main listing requirement by 2 or 1/3 of board of directors. ICON of Store only have 2 female directors in board of directors. That is 25% and not in the line with MCCG requirement of 30%. It have 7 Malay directors and 1 Chinese director. For the perspective of CEO duality, ICON of Store Berhad don't have CEO duality because the chairman and CEO is different person. The chairman is Raja Tan Sri Dato Sri ARSHAD bin Raja Tun Uda and CEO is Dato Sri Hadian Hashim.
Good day everyone, my name is Marshali and my matric number is 275636. Now I'm going to present about T7 Global Berhad. The vision of T7 Global Berhad is to be a trusted partner which makes a difference on the global stage, and the mission is to support the different industry they serve by becoming the preferred integrated solutions provider through continuous innovation, smart partnership and value creation. T7 Global Berhad provides ethical safeguards and virtues to safeguard the quality of its products and services in a manner to ensure that the safety and health of its people and, where practicable, the protection of the natural environment. Not only that, but T7 Global Berhad also values respect for human rights. They ensure that both the organization and their clients respect the rights of their employees and emphasize their compliance with their employees' human rights through various policies and procedures. T7 Global Berhad whistleblowing policies provide an opportunity for all stakeholders, including employees, shareholders, and others, to raise their concern about any misconduct within the group. They also have a separate hotline and email address for workers to report issues. T7 Global Berhad anti-bribery and anti-corruption policies complements the existing code of ethics and conduct for director and whistleblowing policies, as well as the financial and non-financial control in place, such as separation of incompatible functions, multiple signatories to transactions, and action to be taken in the event of the conflict of interest. They have 7 directors in T7 Global Berhad. 3 out of 7 is non-independent director and the rest is independent director. T7 Global Berhad has met the requirement that having at least half of independent director in MCCG 2021 and having 2 or 1/3 of independent director in main listing requirement. They have 1 women director in T7 Global Berhad and the rest is the men director. It stated that the T7 Global Berhad did not meet the requirement in MCCG as the female director on its board is less than 30%. The acting executive chairman for T7 Global Berhad is YB Dato Sri Dr. Nik Nordrul Tani bin Hassan Tani and the executive director is Tan Kevin. There is no CEO duality because the executive director does not hold any chairman position in any committee.
Good day, doctor and everyone. my name is Yap Tzu Hong. Metric number is 279748. So now I will summarize the effectiveness of corporate governance in the problematic company, which is Serba Dynamic Holdings Berhad. So this is some problems that may affect the effectiveness of corporate governance in Serba Dynamic. The first one is the presence of CEO duty. The second one is the less number of independent directors. Number 3 is lack of senior independent director position. Number 4 is prohibition of anonymous disclosure. And number 5 is low engagement of directors in training programs. Next, I will start explain with the first problem, which is the presence of the CEO duty. We found that the CEO of Serba Dynamic also serves as the chairman in the investment committee, so it will giving the CEO a greater opportunity to act on his own interests. After that, we also found that there is a weaker board composition in the Serba Dynamic because it's only 50% of Serba Dynamic directors are independents, which is lower than the proportion of independent directors in the 3 comparable companies, which is at least 50%. The next problem is lack of senior independent directors position in Serba Dynamic. Compared to Dilium Berhad and Icon Offshore Berhad, their board composition has the position of senior independent directors, which does not exist in Serba Dynamic. This means that Serba Dynamic corporate governance efficiency is low because the senior independent directors can help the company to communicate with shareholders more effectively. After that, we also found that the disclosure quality of Serba Dynamic whistleblowing policy is lower than Dilium Berhad. This is because the anonymous disclosure will be accepted by the Dilium Berhad, but for the Serba Dynamic, they are strictly prohibit the whistleblower to report anonymously. So this means that Serba Dynamic may raise the concern of whistleblowers who do not wish to identify themselves, which make them choose to remain silent. The last problem is the low engagement of directors in training program. We found that the majority of directors of Serba Dynamic attend only one training course, so it is quite low compared to Icon Offshore Berhad, because most of the directors of Offshore Berhad attend various training courses and workshops. So it can be concluded that there is lack of knowledge and training in directors of Serba Dynamic to practice an effective corporate governance. In conclusion, we know that the effectiveness of corporate governance in Serba Dynamic is lower if compared to the comparable company. So we point out some recommendations to policymakers of Serba Dynamic. The first one, we recommend them to avoid the CEO duties, increase the number of independent directors, and set up a senior independent directors position to strengthen its board compositions. The next one is we recommend them to review their whistleblowing policy. They should consider to accept the anonymous disclosure from whistleblowers to increase the disclosure quality of their whistleblowing policy. So the last one is the sustainable development programs for directors. We recommend Serba Dynamic to encourage their board directors to participate in training programs more actively. So as a result, its directors may uphold their loyalties and integrity in executing their duties to ensure the effective operation of corporate governance. So that's all for our group presentation. Thank you, Doctor.